bright or good, that which is born out of Pandu is Pandavas, which are positive emotions and positive thoughts. So there is always a battle happening within me between these two. When I see a situation, what happens? There is a battle happening to take control over my mind, symbolically, and that is a Mahabharata war. And whoever wins that battle makes my feeling, right? I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. So this is the Mahabharata battle, and Pandavas, Kauravas. Remember, Pandavas are small in number. Typically in our mind, the noble characters are less compared to the large. It's nothing wrong. I'm not saying that it is bad. Don't think that this is sin or anything like that. This is natural. This is how the human beings are programmed. See, it's an evolution, right? You're evolving from animal to the superhuman. So initial stages it is like that, and you can accelerate that. That's all. So this is the symbolism. So let's move on. And then Kurukshetra and Dharmakshetra. Kurukshetra means it is the field of activities. Symbolically, it is represented as our body, field of our activities. And Dharmakshetra, typically what happens? The body, my activities are not aligned with Dharma. When I follow the Dharma, what happens? This Kurukshetra becomes a Dharmakshetra. My body becomes an instrument to execute Dharma. When I live in line with Dharma, right? When my lifestyle is a yogic lifestyle, which is conforming to a Dharma, what will happen? I get healthy, I get physically healthy, emotionally healthy, socially healthy, and spiritually healthy. So our goal is to transform our body from a mere Kurukshetra, which just execute with likes and dislikes. I like jalebi, so I eat 15 jalebis. To a Dharmakshetra, which conforms to the rule. Eat only one jalebi. Or I don't find the excuse to eat 25 jalebi or laddu, saying that it is Guru Ayappan temples or Tirupati's prasad. And now one guy, he goes to the temple to buy laddus because his wife won't object, eating that prasad. Human mind is so creative, they come up with so many ideas to bypass the Dharma. So this is the symbolism. So Dharmakshetra means my goal is the Dharmakshetra. The body can be transformed into a Dharmakshetra by following Dharma. So let's move on. Okay. So one more reclassification. Every challenges we face in life. I need to hunt a job, or I'm facing a health issue, or somebody loved one is facing a health issue, or there is a social issue is there, or I'm struggling for my green card, or I'm struggling for my job, or I'm struggling with a bullying for my child, right? These are challenges in life. When I face a challenge, what is going to happen? It creates external situation, creates an internal conflict. So when I hear the news of a layoff, just imagine that you are hearing the news of a layoff. Nobody told that it is your layoff, right? You heard that your company is acquired by another company. Any acquisition will result in some layoff, that's for sure. I can say that for sure because that's what I do for mergers and acquisition, right? So whenever somebody acquires, that news spreads. When I hear that, I can take it in two different ways. One is there is a risk for my job. That's a fact. There is no point in keeping my eyes closed to the facts. I can say that there is a risk for my job. So what shall I do? I should prepare myself, right? Whenever a change is forced on you, better be ready to change. This is a good old rule. So in corporate America, that change can happen anytime. So better be ready, right? You should be ready with your skills updated, because sometimes what happens, I was talking to one of our friends very recently. He did the PMP in 2005 and forgot to update. And now he need to apply for a job. He cannot put that in his resume. You should be ready for the change and then constantly do what is to be done. Either take the package and go, or wait to see that, okay, sometimes it may not even affect you. Or if you're too scary, go and find a job. But instead, if I sit and cry and worry and anxiety and being depressed, is that going to change any situation? So we know that this is the what I need to do, but what I feel to do is always different. What I feel to do is what? Morning and evening and night, and every time this is coming to me, and the worst possible scenario will be projected in my head. And I think about that and I disturb. And with that mind, when I come home, when the spouse says something, what would be my reaction? I shout. I may not be enjoy my daughter's performance tomorrow. Right? I may not be attend the Gita class. My life is impacted. Why? I don't know. I'm helpless because the type of thoughts comes to my mind, the type of emotions raised in my mind, it is not in my hand. Go back and dissect. So when that news is presented, an internal conflict happens in my mind, and what is the emotions and thoughts and feelings generated at that point of time is my feeling. If I am in control, I might be able to execute the corrective action. But if the emotions are in control, I cannot even study. Like when I open the book, I cannot study. I cannot update my resume. The other day, somebody came and told me, like, okay, can you update my resume because I'm not able to focus? I'm worried. I'm anxious. So how I transform myself to this person who falls flat when a challenge comes in front of me, to that person who gets on top of that. Swami Dayananda Saraswati, right? He's a master of the Bhagavad Gita. You should all listen to his last talk. He was here in Silersburg. He knew that his days were counted. He was about to be airlifted to India, and he gave a final address to the people gathered there. He said, in 2 weeks' time, you will hear a news that Swami Dayananda passed away. Nobody should be crying, nobody should be talking any lectures, and you should just follow what needs to be done. I'm 85 after all, and I lived my life, I established this much. You should feel that I'm going good. How many people can say that? The difference is Swamiji had 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks he enjoyed every bit. If it is you and me, I have already died when I heard that news. That 2 weeks is also gone, isn't it? So, my mind, the thoughts and emotions driving my mind should be positive. And I should allow the Pandavas to be victorious. Yes. Okay, so this is what it is. This is the internal conflict, and this is the battle within. So this battle that is happening inside my mind is fought between Kauravas and Pandavas. On one side, it is the discriminatory. When I say discriminatory, don't think that it is a caste system or anything like that. It means discrimination. Discrimination between what is right and what is wrong. That's all. So discriminatory thoughts and positive emotions, and on the other side, it is destructive emotions. The destructive emotions are born of blind mind, which is Dhritarashtra, and the other one is the discriminative emotions are born out of Pandu. Panda means Atma Vishaya Buddhi, the one who knows the true knowledge, one who is established in truth, one who is established in the higher. So this internal battle that is happening. Every religion talks about this battle within. The Christianity talks about that. Islam talks about that. Buddha talks about that. Mara. Buddhism talk about Mara. Because Buddha was meditating and he was about to reach his final destination. The constant obstacles was what? Mara. That is these negative forces. In Christianity, you know, right? What happened to the Garden of Eden, right? So symbolic story. Don't take it literally. If you take it literally, you will not understand that at all. So what happened? This temptation came, and within that temptation, Eve fell flat, and immediately the ladder of downfall started. This battle within is there in every religion, every schools, every thoughts. We need to understand that. So let's go further. So this is the battle within. So if the positive emotions and thoughts wins that battle, what happens? I will have self-control, I will have calmness, I will have emotional intelligence, I will have efficiency in action, I will have empathy, I will have spiritual awareness. If the Mahabharata war is who wins the battle. So if the positive thoughts and emotions win the battle, this would be the result. On the other hand, if I let the Kauravas win, what is going to happen? Two snapshots. Worry, anxiety, stress, distractions, emotional hijack, lack of self control, insecurity, and confusion. Can you relate this with yourself? Just take you two situation. I'll tell you one example. One doctor in one of the meeting he told us, right? He is the best doctor in his profession. He cured hundreds of people. But one day he had to go and examine his mom. He could not do that. Why? Who won the battle at that point of time? Kauravas won. So as a result, because he was extremely worried, and why Kauravas win? We talked about the formula in the last class. Raga, Shoka, Moha. When that happens, the delusion happens, worry and anxiety. So this doctor has the skills to cure his mom, but he cannot apply. Why? His mind was taken over by the Kauravas. So we should, what? Small situation? Yes, I take control. Pandavas will take control. And when it is your problem, yes, I can always easily take control. But when it comes to my problem, always the Kauravas takes control. This problem is universal. It is not just Arjuna's problem. It is my problem, your problem, and after 5,000 years also, this could be the same problem. So why Gita is relevant here? This is the same problem. It's not that particular context. So this battle within is important. But first thing is that most of the people don't even recognize that I feel extremely stressed. Why? That is the state of my mind. So more than reality, what my mind projects to me is what I feel. More than reality, what my mind projects to me is what I feel. So when I go to a counselor, what is going to happen? He or she will say something. It will change my mental state. Any counselor in anywhere in the world, has he or she changed the external situation? Then why do you pay hundreds of dollars and go to a counselor? What did he do or she do? First of all, he just listened to you. That itself calmed you down. I'm not saying that I'm not undermining the counseling, but counseling is extremely important. But we need to understand what the counselor can do and what the counselor cannot do. The counselor did not change the behavior of the bully who was bullying your child. The counselor didn't change the school curriculum. The counselor just made your child understood that this is not just you, other people are also going, this is not that big as you think, and he feels better. So it's a clear example. It's a clear example. Right? A tragedy happened. Somebody passed away. At that point of time, you feel that it is the end of the world. After 5 years, yeah, you forget the life will move on. Not saying that that's bad. It has to be like that. In our culture, there are 28 days or 14 days were given. But at that point of time, what was your thinking? Life has ended here for me. But it was only a feeling. And my response and my stress and pressure was on that feeling, not on the reality. So this is very important. What I feel, what my mind thinks, and this is the central teaching of the Gita. How do I reprogram my mind in such a way that whenever a situation happens, only the right thoughts comes to my mind. We call it as automatic thought. That is the first thought comes to the mind is called automatic thought. And what exactly is that automatic thought is going to determine everything else because there's a domino effect after that. Makes sense, right? This verse. Okay, so this is the most of us are not even aware of that. So gaining victory in this internal battle is extremely important. And I quoted an African proverb, just read that, it's very important. When there is no enemy within, the enemy outside cannot hurt you. How many of you read the first management book in the whole world? What is the first management book? Art of Warfare. Yeah. So what was their technique? If you read that book, you will understand. So they project that this Chinese army has supernatural power. They can come from the behind. They will kill you. So before the battle itself, what happens? Psychologically dead. So that's how they used to win the wars. They have supernatural power. They have the power of hundreds elephants, and they can come behind the scene. And you can see in history, this is applied. So this is very important. Okay. So one more point: the self versus pseudo self. Pseudo self is what? The self that is projected. I am worried, I am anxious, I am depressed, etc. Look at that. When I look at the screen, what I'm seeing is terrible. Why? My mind is completely disturbed. When my mind is completely disturbed, what it is projecting is terrible situations. And then my response would be, is that for the reality or the terrible situation projected by the mind? It is for the terrible situation. And what happens is when there is an internal conflict happens, it projects a pseudo self, which is going to make you drive you crazy. And Gita is going to warn you about that. This is the first training. It's called pradiphasikism, illusionary reality. You're going to see that. But understand that the pseudo self is there, it is going to create problem. So this is the simple diagram. The actual self is happy, but the pseudo self, when it projects frustration, I always feel frustrated. When the mind projects stress, I feel stressed. So understand that the feelings are only a feelings. And I told you the other day, emotion means it is a means of the body to communicate to the mind that something has happened. So it is a means of the mind to communicate to the body that something has happened. It's a dashboard, and it's called E plus motions emotions, something that moves. So it just tell that okay, my tire air pressure is low. I just need to take action, but unfortunately we identify with that and we project. We think that I'm depressed. Depression is only a sign. Anxiety is only a sign, and how do I take it? This a cognitive change has to happen. But right now, in this context, understand that there is a possibility that there is an internal battle happening, and that internal battle can disturb my mental state, and I will be driven left and right by that mental state. We need to prevent that. So that's why identify the Dhritarashtra and Sanjay. Okay. So the first verse, the summary is it is an instruction to introspect. Without that introspection, Gita won't begin. The type of the thoughts, the type of emotions, events that triggers, feelings we experience and the perception, responses to situation. These are the 5 things you need to look for. The slides are there in OneDrive, just download it and just copy this one. Okay. So now, first verse is over. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Now, Sanjaya responds. So, the blind mind asks the introspection, what is happening in me? Or in the story form, Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya, what is happening in the Kurukshetra battle? So, let's listen.
सञ्जयमुवाच दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकम् व्यूढम् दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यमुपसङ्गम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत्.
So, दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डव अनीकम् Vyutham Duryodhana Stada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravit. Sanskrit has something. So what happens is multiple words will combine into one word. We'll talk about something in one of the class. It's very important. Uh, so, Drishtva Pandavanakam, having seen the Pandava forces, the positive forces or the dharmic forces, what happened? Drishtva Pandavanikam Vyutham. Vyutham means what? Array. Like in battle, ancient battlefield, there was arrays. Like Padma Vyuha, like it's like a lotus. And then Garuda Vyuha, is like a Garuda eagle, there is one. There's a snake like Vyuha. And there are war strategy was there, ancient warfare. There were war strategies. Just like the modern world, it is there. So having seen the Pandavas' war strategy, the leader of the Kaurava, Duryodhana, approached his teacher, Dronacharya, and spoke his peace. This is what Sanjaya reported. So Sanjaya checked what the Kauravas are doing. So it means exactly that is more important. The negative forces, what they are doing. So having seen the Pandava forces, the Duryodhana approached Drona. Why Drona? Drona is the trainer or the teacher of both Kauravas and Pandavas. He knows the pluses and minuses of everybody. And he is the one who can even contain the Pandava forces. He's that powerful. So he just wanted to review the strategy with Drona. That is the second piece. The literal meaning. So let's see the symbolic. So Sanjaya's observation. So the honest, impartial analysis revealed Duryodhana see the well-arrayed Pandava forces. Then he approached Dronacharya and started a discussion. That is the second part. Third is Drona is the powerful teacher of both Kauravas and Pandavas. His influence and presence can make a difference in the battle because he knows the pluses and minuses of almost everybody. So this is the literal meaning. Let's go to the symbolic. So who is Drona and who is so Duryodhana? So Duryodhana, Ayodhana means what? Battle. Durya plus Ayodhana, the one who is difficult to be conquered. That is what. Duryodhana is not a negative name. Most of the people think that 2 plus, no. It means the one who is, it means it is very difficult to conquer the battle. That's what Duryodhana means. Symbolically, it represents the material passion in us. Right? That passion you cannot stop. It could be for wine, it could be for women, it could be for objects. Even Vishwamitra couldn't control himself. Even sages could not control that passion themselves because Duryodhana is. Duryodhana symbolically represented. I used the diagram of Puneet Visa because for me he was a classic Duryodhana.
Yeah.
87, right? When we were kids, we used to watch that.
He was the best.
He was the best Duryodhana. So then Drona. Drona means it comes from the root Dhru, means that which stay in the melted form. That's what it is. What is staying inside in the melted form is our habits. The habits in us, it stays there. Whatever we do, it leaves a footprint there. And later point of time, what is going to happen is it will generate a tendency. And for both good and bad, there are both good and bad habits. The habits trains good qualities and bad qualities. That is what is Drona symbolically represents. So let's try to understand what is happening. So self-analysis reveals that we have good qualities in us. Even the worst person in the whole world will have some good qualities. Why it is not getting manifested? It is getting buried in that negative thoughts and emotions. So Sanjaya identified that even the material passion in me see the negative, the positive forces in me. Like the self-control is there always within me. I have love, I have devotion, calmness, empathy, all these things in me. And so Duryodhana is afraid. The material passion is afraid. When these qualities are predominant in me, I cannot execute my strategy. So I need to get hold of my habits. Habits means what? Initially, you make the habit, and then habits make you. Good person started drinking every day at 5 o'clock over a period of time. He might be praying at 6 a.m. in the morning, but 6 p.m., wherever he is, he will end up in the drinking booth. Sometimes you may think that, oh, I'm just doing this 1 or 2 times, but you don't realize that when you do that multiple times, you may get a feeling. Okay, gambling is another example. Cigarette smoking. A lot of people I see, they wanted to give up. Most of the people do the New Year resolution also. This year, I'm stopping cigarette. What is going to happen? How many days it will last? Maximum 3 months. There's a website, you can go and see. How many days my New Year resolution lasts? It's a big Pareto curve. Like 80% of the New Year resolution will stay only in a month. So the habits, beware of my habits. That's very important message of this verse. Beware of Drona. Drona, even though he trains the good habits in me, but one bad habit is good enough. Since you kindle my interest in Vivek Chudamani, I was reading Vivek Chudamani. Shankaracharya tells certain animals, this elephant is very powerful, but it has one weakness. That one weakness is good enough for its downfall. Deers, they have a weakness for mridangam. They see like the sound. When you hear the sound, it will run fast and it will end up in front of the hunters. Because of that one weakness, it will fall down. The firefly has the weakness of the light. These are the examples Chandra quotes. It tells how the habits can bring you down. So look at your habit, examine, because what you're doing, trying to do is here is self-analysis. So look at my habit. What are the driving forces involved? Driving habit in me? Are anything is that going to create problem in me? So that's what this verse tells us. These are simple looking verses, but just keep this in mind. This is very important. So, strategy of the negative emotions or thoughts is what? Use my habit and bring me down. And most of the times it works. And I myself think when I was introspecting, I will tell you one of my habits. I'll tell you like I don't eat popcorns at all. But if I go to a movie theater, definitely without me thinking, I'll buy popcorn. Right? So like that, right? The habits, how the presence of certain people. When I see him, I think gambling. I'm just thinking, right? When I see another 5 people, I feel like drinking. That's why even in India, right? You see in park, people go and start playing cards. I've seen that. People who are not even familiar, in 5 minutes they become a thick friends and start playing. And you can see a round of people watching also. It forms, right? And habits is very hard to break. Very hard to break. So this is the strategy. And then what exactly is the habits? It is the routine behavior we do on a regular basis. Over a period of time, what happens? It becomes a habit. So prevailing character of a person, thoughts and feelings or the mental makeup. This is the definition of the habit. A behavior pattern acquired by frequent repetition. That is also the definition of the habit. So under the influence of the habit, what happens? My thinking will be bypassed. That's what happens. I don't think. I just do it. That's the power of the habit. And the habits, we need to be very careful. They're powerful. The good habits. When I get up, what is the first thing I do? Go and brush my teeth. It's a great habit without thinking. So habits are good also. But under the influence of habits, we fall into the hands of destructive emotions. The other day, somebody was talking about nail biting. That's why I just used a harmless example. One person was telling the story in one of our class. He was trying to control his nail biting for the last 10 years. Big meeting, whenever he thinks something seriously, he will bite his nail. Live example in our own class. So the habits are so powerful. Usually they have, but the problem is what? If I have 15 habits, if all the habits are good habits, if Drona trained only Pandavas, wonderful, the country would prosper. But he trained 101 Kauravas, then he trained 5 Pandavas. So we pick up 100, when we pick up 105 habits, usually 100 of one would be problematic. So we need to. Okay, so this is the summary of the second verse. I'll take 5 more minutes. That's okay, right? Okay. So this beware of the bad habits. So we need to understand what exactly is the bad habits and good habits in this. So this is a part of our introspection. This is the summary of the second verse. So let's go to the 3, 4, 5, 6 verse together.
पश्यैतां पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्यमहतिं च व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमत अत्र शूरा महेश्वासाः भीमार्जुनसमायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः दृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च प्रियवान् पुरुजित्कुन्तिभोजश्च शैयश्च नरपुङ्गवः युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वदेव महारथाः.
So Duryodhana is talking to Drona, right, who is the mentor. So say, Pashyaitam Pandaputranam Acharya Mahati Chama. Oh teacher, see the array of Pandava forces. Vyutam Drupada Putrena, they are marshal and led by the son of Drupada. His name is Srishtabhimna. The Drupada is another king in the Pandava, because I'm not going to the history aspects, it doesn't matter to us. So it is led by Trishtabhimna, and he tells, Tava Shishya, he is also your disciple. Dhimata is well intelligent. You trained them. So you trained all these people. And then Atra Shura Maheshwasa. These Pandava forces have really powerful people. Shura, Maheshwasa, and Bhima, Arjuna, Samayuti. They are as good as Bhima and Arjuna. Bhima and Arjuna are the most powerful people in Pandava. So Duryodhana tells the other people are also equally powerful as Bhima and Arjuna. And he enumerates the names of such people. Yuyudhana, one king in the Pandava army. Virata, the king of Virata. Drupada, king of Panchala. Maharatha, all these people are Maharatha. Maharatha, there is a definition, means he can fight with these many people, etc., which is not our point of interest. And then he, Trishtaketu, the son of Trishtabhimna, who is also powerful. Trishtaketu, Chekidana, Satyaki, there is another powerful warrior. Kashiraja, the king of Kashiraja. Purujit, another king. Purujit, Kundipoja, the father of Kundi, who is another king. Shaibyascha Narapungava. Shaibya, another king, and these are all extremely powerful people. Yudhamani, another person. It doesn't matter, he is just enumerating the people in the Pandavas forces. Vikranda, he is powerful. Vikranda means warrior. Uttamauchascha Viryavan, another Uttamaucha, another person, he is also powerful. Saubhadra, the son of Subhadra, is Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son. Draupadeyascha, 5 sons of Draupadi from the Pandavas. Sarva Eva Maharatha. He just say that all these people are powerful people. So essentially, he tells Drona that, look at, O teacher, this Pandava forces are powerful. It is led by Trishtabhimna. and most of the people are your own disciple, and each of them as good as Bhima and Arjuna. If we don't strategize, we are going to lose the battle. That's all. So basically, the symbolic meaning is what? Simple. It is an enumeration of the good qualities. So when you introspect, each one of us are blessed with a lot of good values. Identify the goodness in you first before you call yourself as a sinner. There are a lot of good things in us. So we will just list some of the values. 13th chapter of the Gita gives that values. And what we have to do is make sure that values are identified. So he tells this I already explained. So the positive forces within. There are enough positive forces, and these forces are led by Trishta Vinna. Trishta Vinna is typically translated as intuition. Stop, Kumar.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, basically it said the story is
but this is recorded. That's fine. Then these divine forces are symbolically represented by various these good qualities, or the positive forces are symbolically represented as the various people in Panda. So in our self-analysis, what we have to do is look for some of these values. I hope that connection is also gone. Okay, that's fine. Intuitive awakening, calmness, love, empathy, spiritual memory, positivity, all these are good qualities. So we'll have to wait till 13th chapter to identify each one of them. But I would tell you one good book if anybody is interested, because this is extremely important. There is a meditation technique called value meditation. Value meditation, what it does is it tries to identify certain values. Some values will be dominant, some value will be abhayam, like fearlessness. What is fearlessness? Fearlessness is not lack of fear. It is the ability to overcome the fear. That's what it is. So,
I think that runner.
yeah, that's also one out.
Yeah.
I can delete some of them, or another font can be used.
Yeah.
What did you say the book was?
The book name is called Value of the Values. Here the power loss, right? Power is all. We didn't charge it. That's it. Just record that. Only 2 minutes, and you can WhatsApp me. Update it. So the book name is called Value of the Values. It's written by Swami Dhanananda. This is based on the chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, because chapter 13 we have a good description of all the values. So that's so this verse essentially tells me to identify these values described in the Bhagavad Gita and what extent it is there. Some of these values may not even exist. So if a value is not there, I should kindle that value. And if there is a value, I should boost that. That is the strategy. 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita also gives an elaborate description of these values. This is called Deva Asurika Sambandhi. You will see that. But at this point of time, just identify that these values needs to be identified and cultivated. Okay. So the impact of these positive forces, I gave a few examples, since I cannot show you that, it is there in the slide. So the first thing is, do you remember the incident in 2009 when a pilot, his name is Chelsea Sullenberger, Hudson. Have you listened to the conversation in the cockpit? Why? Why he was able to do that?
It's very common.
Correct. He had that courage, that value manifested. So that's one classic example. If his mind was completely out of his control, very recently, last year, one Air India flight, AI 101, was about to land in JFK. There was no visibility in JFK. And suddenly they discovered that the automatic landing gear, first one, is broken on. While they were about to land, they realized that the second one is also gone. The manual landing under that situation was very difficult. And mind you, this flight travels 14 hours. So the fuel was about to exhaust. They had only 30 minutes fuel. What they did was they moved the flight to Newark, which had a relatively better visibility. And this pilot, this captain, under that challenges, he did a manual landing. His presence of mind was highly appreciated. 400 plus people were in the flight. This is another demonstration. The third one is when Mahatma Gandhi started the Quit India movement, even the Congress people said that this guy is foolish. Like the salt, that's Satyagraha. What did he do? Like he went to a shore, just collected a little bit of ocean water, put some fire, and even that didn't burn very well. It was symbolic. How can this primitive battle fight with an emperor where the sun never sets? But his fortitude, his courage, his commitment, and his value eventually drove the British outside of India. Again, demonstration of these values. Gandhi himself tells his values comes from the Bible. Third example, cricket example, 2011 World Cup final. At a stage, India was 45 for 3. When Mahendra Singh Dhoni came to bat, he was not in his best form, and all the frontline batsmen were already out. There was a huge score to chase, but his calmness, I would say 100% his calmness won that World Cup for us. If that value or if that quality was not inherent in him, he would not have got that World Cup. Technical skill is secondary. So its impact of the positive forces are extremely important. So having the Pandava forces trained and winning the battle is very much important for us. Okay. So the symbolism here is, yep.
Would you consider values also as part of Pandavas, or are these that enable Pandavas or that energize Pandavas even more?
Yeah, it's
Is that, I mean,
okay, it's
are they
the demonstration of the value is the Pandavas inside, right? So, for example,
something that feeds into
for example, divine calmness is what is Yudhishthira, symbolically represented. Arjuna is what? The self-control, straightforward, right? Riju, that is the definition. One who follows the straightforward path is the self-control. Bhima is the life force control. So these forces will help me to demonstrate that value. So identify the value. Identify how much I'm following that value. Value means first I have to accept it. The book Value of the Value starts with Swamiji brilliantly starts. He tells a value do not have a value if the value of the value is not appreciated. So, think of it. It's very, very, a value do not have a value if the value of the value is not appreciated. So first you have to appreciate the value. Then you have to kindle the value. So then these values needs to be identified. And the summary is these three forces are there are positive dharmic values inside me. Dharmic forces inside me. The thoughts that predominates means forces me to drive in the path of dharma is there. But usually they will be suppressed by the mighty Kaurava forces with the help of this Bhishma and the Drona and the Karna and the Ashwatthama. So, summary, the whole thing is the first verse of the Gita, we saw 6 verses. Dhritarashtra's question we saw. Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya what is happening in the battlefield. Sanjaya said the battle, means the Pandava army arrayed under the leadership of Drishtadyumna. Seeing that, Duryodhana went to the teacher Drona and tried to strategize. As the first step, he enumerated the powerful warriors in the Pandava forces. This is the literal meaning. Symbolic meaning is we don't know what is happening in and around us. So the first thing, if you want to improve, understand where you are. So identify the Sanjaya and start introspection. That Sanjaya could be inside, and also it could be somebody whom you love and trust. So later in the Gita, we will see you need to be aware of 4 things. One is the self that is known to you, which is unknown to others. I do a charity, but my internal goal is what? I should get XYZ out of it, or a name out of it. People may think I'm a charitable person. Then what? What others see and I see. Okay, I genuinely try to help other people. Others also see that. The third one is what others see which I don't see. I don't know I'm a short-term good person, but others see that. And the last one is neither the other person.
No.
So that is the most difficult part, which Krishna is going to tell us a few techniques to even understand that. Those things will come later. But the theme of the first chapter is the self-awareness. What is happening inside.
So, just going by the story, the numbers, Kaurava Sainya was by numbers 21 or something.
11.
Yeah.
And then by comparison, the Pandava
7.
so was much less.
Less.
So, is that number of any significance? And
It's a significance is this. Usually the positive dharmic army is small. Even the internal, if you really analyze, the push and pull to Vairi Dharma is much more than the push and pull to stay with the Dharma. So that's the challenge. That's what is symbolically represented. So don't read this as a history and go, it won't benefit us. Okay, so that's good. So we will come back and see the enumeration of Kaurava forces and strategy further. And story-wise also, the beauty of the way Vyasa did is symbolically it follows a perfect the sequence, and also story-wise also it clearly demonstrates how a human being falls. This is beautifully combined by great Vyasa. Okay, so great. So we will announce, we can put that in YouTube. Even phone we can do YouTube.
Yes.
It's very easy.
Yes.
We can do YouTube because anybody is not coming. A few people asked, I didn't.
Phone, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers.
That's it?
Only then can you start.
Oh.
So laptop is the only thing that can start immediately.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why I was bringing this
Oh,
one.
okay.
Otherwise, I could have put the phone here.
Yeah.
You need at least 1,000
you can actually
subscribers for that.
spread the word and have more subscribers.
Yes, you can. Yes. As soon as you
Project
have.
Gita has 800 almost.
Okay. So we're close to
200.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why don't you?
Just get everybody to start clicking on
keep
subscriptions. Yeah.
subscribing.
I don't know. Yeah.
You need at least 1,000 subscribers, and I think 4,000 hours worth of viewing. I don't know if we have that. So yeah, as soon as we're close to that.
Phone means it's easy. We can put that in the tripod and do that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, right. Because I was trying to do that, and they didn't. I mean, my account is not up there.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
they
I'll
allow the
give you the
laptop.
Project Gita account also.
Sure.
So it is 800 or 796 as of today morning.
Okay, that's good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
Okay, so we will see next week. Thursday we will do the Vedanta second session. It was good. We will start with Purushartha. Any questions? You can always post in the WhatsApp or